listening to Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go. Hello.
Hey.
Well, as we mentioned, this was supposed to be an expert interview. And I was like, not going to get it together in time for this to be an expert interview, but I can't get it together enough for this to be a message from the universe.
For reasons why we can't get it together, see last week's episode.
Exactly. Footnote, see last week's episode. Totally valid reasons not to get it together. By the way, if you hear noise, that's just me shuffling this whole time, obviously getting ready for our message from the universe. But I need another message from the universe. No one complains about getting a message from the universe ever. In fact, we get more comments on those than we get about like anything else, which I mean, I'm not at all offended by that.
It's the universe's messages that resonate more than our messages. Well, it's our interpretation of the universe's messages.
I am going to go with that. Otherwise, it's like, wow, well, of course, the universe bests me again and everything.
Well, you know, if it was just that, I mean, people could buy this deck and give their own messages, but they like to hear us talk about it. I think
they're just too lazy to buy the deck themselves.
Sure,
that could be it.
Also,
I'm too lazy to do a lot of things. That's not judgment.
No judgment.
I'm too lazy to get my hair cut.
I think it had been over 6 months
since you got your hair done.
I got mine done.
That's shocking.
Yeah, I just went in last week, and she was like, "Oh, it's been a while, honey," and I was like, "Uh-huh."
I always feel. Do you ever feel more judged than when you go to get your hair done and it's been too long?
Yeah, and they're like, because they know exactly what they're looking for. I mean, I can see my roots, but they really know. And they're like, your ends are. I was like, I don't want a big cut. And she was like, we're going to need to do some cutting. And
I know. Like, right now, the end of my hair looks like a witch's broom. Like, it's not great. Ooh. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We don't even talk about my hair anymore. So, okay, we'll get into it. We will, but I would be remiss if I did not point out that we are at the halfway mark in our current one-on-one coaching enrollment, which is again the time. Cards keep flying out. And I honestly think that like, maybe
let's just go with what wants to be heard.
Because one just like popped up before we even hit record. And I was like, this is important. And I put it aside. And so now I'm like, I'm just going to wait until another card flies out. And that's just going to be our reading.
I love it. We're not going to micromanage this one. We're going to let it.
No, the universe is clearly more interesting than me. So
got a lot to say today too.
Wow. So I'm just going to keep doing that until one flies out, which it will.
Okay. Well, we will get to the universe's very urgent and urgent message.
Like, shut up, bitch. Get to the point.
But we're gonna remind you that there's only 1 week left of our coaching enrollment.
Yeah.
We're gonna, I guess, close the doors for our official enrollment period next Friday. Doesn't mean if you're listening to this later, because sometimes I don't listen to podcasts the day they come out. I might wait until I've got a little bit more time or I'm in the right mindset. So if you're listening to this later, doesn't mean that's it. You have no more options. It just means we can't guarantee that we can start with you right away.
I had such a good story happen this week of like the kind of coaching that happens all the time now. Do you want to hear it?
Of course I do.
Well, okay, great. So my
what if I said no?
I'd be like, tough shit. You're about to hear it. So my client gets on the phone and I just love her. She's a very energetic person. She's naturally very extroverted, fun to talk to. Not that everyone isn't fun to do to, but she's just like that kind of charismatic person. And she was like, so I didn't do my homework because I'm like really overwhelmed by work right now. And I'm spiraling. And I was like, okay, great. Let's put that aside. Like, let's put the homework you were supposed to have done aside and let's talk about your spiral because we're not going to get anywhere until this is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
And for backstory, she had recently listened to our episode, our book club episode from last month with Amanda about attached and attachment theory. And she really resonates with being anxiously attached as we both do. And it shows up a lot for her at work. She's realizing, like, just kind of now we're putting the dots together of how much she fears people judging her, losing connection with people at work, her boss and other people. Like, she really, really, really also resonates as a people pleaser, which a lot of anxiously attached people do.
Yeah, checks out.
And is one of those who really wants to manage people's perception of her.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
I'm familiar.
Yeah. I need you to think that I am together and with it and capable and pleasant and like got a good attitude all the time, which of course, not to get too deep into it, but where's that rooted? It's rooted in childhood because that's how she had to be in order to function and like avoid
be loved.
Yeah. Avoid
acceptance,
avoid rejection in her own home. And all of us have that to some degree, right? Like all of us learned that there was a way we needed to be in order to get by. And we are still doing that to this day, unless we've taken, measures to really work through that and release those patterns. So
again, see the book club episode from last month.
She was talking so much about her stress and her overwhelm and all the things that she had to do. And how she had not voiced any of these concerns to anybody. I was the first person she was telling about any of this. No one at work knows how stressed she is, and she won't let them see it. And I was like, okay. Quite frankly, I love to gas myself up, as you know. So even on a coaching call, I was like, if I was a bad coach, here's what I would do. I would help you work through your to-do list. And I would help you organize it, and manage it.
So we could check more things off.
Yeah. So that you could reach your goals. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we're not going to do that because I'm not a bad coach. So here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to talk about the fact that your overwhelm is not about how much you have to do. It's about the fact that you haven't talked to anybody about it. And it's about the fact that like you are suffering in silence and internalizing all of your struggles instead of sharing them and being vulnerable with people. And I'm like, I actually think that even though you have like a lot to do, it would be a more manageable kind of level of stress, like a more everyday stress, if you didn't feel like it would be the end of the world for you to share it with people, right?
Plus, if people think that you're easily handling your current workload
and you're not,
they might give you more.
Right.
And then you feel like you can't say no because they don't know how overwhelmed you already are. You can see how if nobody knows, how can they possibly help you? Or how can you possibly set realistic expectations for yourself or with other people?
Yeah. So we had to work through the fear around exposing her imperfection to people. And like, when I asked,
and I like how her imperfection is, I can't do all of the things.
Yes, I mean, literally, it's not even that. She's not even saying she can't do it. She's saying, I'm stressed. All she wants is to be able to tell somebody else that she's not perfect and that she stresses and that she's just feeling a little insecure without them rejecting her or without them thinking less of her. That's it. But that's terrifying. Mm-hmm. And so we had to talk through that and work through that and come up with like some things that she could probably say to her boss. And of course, when I asked her, how do you feel about saying this? She goes, it just feels unnecessary. And I'm like, that's so interesting. Like, unnecessary for what? Like, unnecessary if you want to maintain the status quo. Necessary if you want mental health to improve. Because right now you're so anxious, you're not sleeping. Like, I'm like, she's like, I guess I've just been running so fast and like trying to like outrun all of this and like not share it with anybody. And I'm just hoping it won't catch me. And I was like, spoiler alert, it already did, or else we wouldn't be talking. Like the anxiety and the stress has gotten to you big time. If you're this upset, you're this spiraling and you can't sleep, it already caught you. So now we need to externalize it so that you can move on from this. And so we talked about that. And 24 hours later, she emailed me and said she felt a million times better. And just even talking to me was like such a relief, like to share with another human, your vulnerabilities and to have them not reject you for it. It's really freaking helpful. And then she's realizing that, like, okay, I'm actually seeing now where I could have probably shared some of my stress with my boss like last week. That would have been really helpful to prevent this spiral. So now I know, and I'm going to try to do that for next time. So again, like, so much of what we think we need is a change of circumstance. Like, I need less to do. I need to reorganize my whole work week to accommodate how much I have to do. Or I need to like quit this job because this job is so overwhelming. Oh, whoa.
Oh, did our third card pop out?
Yeah. And like maybe even a fourth one.
We're going to go with it.
But
okay.
I don't know. I feel like that was the one. So anyway.
But what a great example of one of the biggest values of working with a coach is because usually the solution that you think you need in the moment when you're stressed or overwhelmed or feeling stuck, it may not be the actual solution that you need. So if you try to fix the problem that you think is causing the discomfort, you might find yourself right back where you were, or maybe even a worse position.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we're, to toot our own horn, pretty good at after 12 years of doing this is being able to get to the core of the real problem at hand. You don't even have to know what that is. We'll be able to laser in on, I don't think this is about what you think this is about.
No, the problem
it's hard to get that objective perspective on yourself and your own life, which is why even us as coaches will go to our friend coaches and be like, I need to see this differently. I'm stuck in my own mental loop. So don't think that we're impervious to this. Everybody needs that objective perspective from somebody who can see it more clearly than you can see it.
And it was different than therapy in that it's not like we spent ages talking about her childhood in that conversation and why it makes sense. And that, we touched on it for a second. Like, yeah, of course, this is exactly like when you were a kid and XYZ would happen. Like, we're just repeating that. But sort of connect the dots and sort of remind her of where it comes from, with the purpose of moving on from it. That's the point, is that the intention is, okay, I want to improve my career. I want to move on from this. I want to be able to like take action. And we're just trying to release any impediment you have to being able to do that. And unfortunately, the impediment is often deeper than, oh, my to-do list is overwhelming. It's, oh, I have a deep fear of being seen by people because I fear that if they think I'm imperfect, they won't love me.
Yeah, I'm terrified of vulnerability.
And so I need someone to help me practice vulnerability and hold me accountable for doing it. And then like expecting me to report back on how it went with my boss, and then maybe debriefing the conversation I had with my boss and coaching around that. Like, that's what we're often doing during coaching.
And that's what makes changes last, is when you, figure out why you're doing what you're doing, but more importantly, get clear on what is it going to take for me to change this pattern, because this is not serving me. And I'm going to have to make some changes, even if they feel quote unquote unnecessary. But on the other side of them, you're going to realize, oh, that was maybe very necessary.
It wasn't. What I told her was that, it's not necessary for your survival, but it's necessary for your ability to thrive. And that's what I want for you. I'm not trying to keep you at survival. I'm trying to get you to thriving in all areas of your life. And in order to do that, you need to be able to be honest with people about how you really feel. And as someone who craves connection as much as she does, you can't have connection without that level of vulnerability and honesty.
No.
And it's going to serve her in every area of her life. It's going to serve her with friendships. It's going to serve her in a potential romantic partnership. It's going to serve her everywhere, which is also the point. So anyway, if that resonates with you, if like, I think I have job problems, but actually I might be someone who's doing things like that, who has like patterns that are still impacting me and affecting me on a daily basis and potentially messing with my ability to like enjoy my work or, like relax ever without feeling guilty, for example, then you're probably a good fit for coaching. And now is a good time to talk to us because, hello, this is like, we're taking on new clients right now. I don't know how many spots we have left because we only have about 10-ish and we've already been opening the doors for a week. So time is of the essence. if you want to talk to us, fill out a form. You can go to clarityonfire.com/coaching, or you can go to the link in the show notes and take a few minutes, give us whatever info, you think we need. Let us know how ready you think you are. And that's important, because if you're not ready enough, we might figure out, okay, there might be a better time to start with you or talk to you. You don't have to be 100% ready, though. Let's just keep that in mind. Some people know that they're ready. Some people think that they could be. That's okay. Like, you don't ever have to be 100% ready to do anything. And in fact, most people aren't before they dive into something new.
If you wait until you're 100%, you're probably never sign up.
Do it.
So that's okay. But if you are very seriously considering it and feel like now or soon could be
within the next month or so
a good time, then fill out a form. Let's talk. Right. We're going to help you figure it out. Again, you are not committing to work with us by filling out a form. All you're doing is committing to having a conversation where we seriously explore, do you want to do this now? Is this the right fit?
What I love is that, like, this is the kind of thing that has honestly, it has, like, in my experience, such a low risk associated with it, because no one has ever regretted coaching and working on themselves and, like, healing some of these patterns and becoming someone who's happier and more fulfilled and who's, like, more clear about their direction and more satisfied about the path that it might take them to get there, and more patient, maybe even about the ups and downs that they're navigating, because it's life and life's going to keep lifing. And, like, historically, people don't tend to regret that decision.
Yeah. As far as investments go, this is probably the most low risk invest. Like, I'm going to invest in a better version of myself, which is a guaranteed outcome of spending months working on improving my life.
Yeah. Like, oh no, I hate it. I hate being a new me.
Oh, I hate that life is better.
Oh yeah.
Can I go back to the old life where
no, but
felt harder?
There is a point where people often probably do feel like, oh no, I became more self-aware and yet my life isn't improved yet. And I just wish I could go back to being ignorant. There is a phase where that happens.
Every person goes through that, but they don't really mean it. They don't really mean I want to go back to not knowing.
No.
But there is an uncomfortable, oh man, I'm getting real aware of some stuff that I want to change. Now I have to do some hard stuff. But the good news is you would have to go through that anyway if you really wanted to make change. This way you can go through it with somebody who's going to go through it with you and help you process it. And you don't get stuck in that part for very long.
So, okay. Again, now's the time. And maybe this reading will reinforce that for some of you, because it usually does.
Yeah.
It's going to reinforce something. So are you ready for it? Because
I'm ready for it. I think the universe is like tapping its toe. Like, come on,
shut up.
I've been trying to give you these cards for 10 minutes.
All right. So I guess I'm just going to pull them in the order that they fell out. Obviously.
I think we need to go with that order.
So like usual, I've pulled 3. There's one on the left, one on the middle, one on the right. And you can choose your own adventure. You can just decide one of these cards is your reading for today. Full stop. Great. You can ask a question and say, okay, my answer is in the right card. Sure. Fine. Do that. You can do past, present, future around a situation. You can do the problem, the advice, and the outcome, the likely outcome if you were to follow the advice. So,
or you can just
make something
go along with the ride and don't even see what resonates.
Just see where you land at the end of it. I mean, there's no wrong way to do it. All roads lead to some kind of a message. I'm certain of that. So let's pull the first card, which is the card on the left. Now, this one flew out before, and I looked at it already. And
I have not seen it.
In true fashion, with this deck, the Enchanted Map deck by Colette Baron-Reid, which we use almost all the time, I'm like, this card I've never seen. And yet we've been doing this for years. And somehow this card, I'm like, this is the first time this card has ever existed. This card, this deck is so weird.
I do feel like cards just appear and disappear.
This is card number 3. And Kristen, you're going to love this so much. It's Wizard of Awareness.
What?
You've never seen that, have you?
Never seen
Literally
that.
Never.
I love this wizard man.
Okay, so he's well, yeah, this card has energy to it. It keeps flying out.
flung out of Rachel's hand into my lap.
Okay, so it's an old, as you might imagine, it's an old, wizened man. I mean, he's kind of like a Dumbledore-esque figure. If Dumbledore or Gandalf were into like bright pops of color,
There's a little like
He's
a hippie vibe
yeah.
to this wizard.
If Dumbledore was a hippie, or Gandalf was a hippie, then this is the vibe. He's got long, straggly white hair and a beard. He's sitting on some kind of throne.
But he's like cocked over to the side. He's chilling.
He's thinking, like he's got his chin resting on his fist. And I don't even know if it's the throne or if it's like some sort of wall art behind him, but there's like 3 spirals behind him. They look carved into the throne or maybe the wall. He has a staff, and at the point of the staff is a very bright spot of light. So anyway, Kristen, please.
The Wizard of Awareness. I already love this man. Okay. There's always a little quote at the beginning. And this time the quote is, "Your soul knows best. Be still and observe."
Okay. Great.
Mindfulness is about being observant and remaining neutral about what goes on in the world around you. This applies to the environment within you too. If you struggle inside yourself, stepping into observer position gives you a new, powerful perspective that neutralizes any discomfort or overexcitement. You have the capacity to see things clearly now, unencumbered by opinion or desire. Wearing the world as a loose garment, interesting, requires you to adapt a sense that nothing that happens to you is personal.
Wow.
People come and go. Experiences evolve from one state to another in a continual shifting and change, no matter how much you want things to stay the same.
Wow.
The Wizard of Awareness asks you to give up your need to define or limit what you're experiencing now. It's all good. Let it be and watch the miracle unfold without any direct influence from you.
Oh,
whoa. That was deep and also very beautifully written.
Also a call out. Do you feel like it's a call out?
It's like, it's not judging everything as like, oh, this is so hard, or like, oh, what's wrong with me? It's like, it's not about you.
Also, like, literally
life be lifing.
Do less. Do a lot less. In fact, do nothing. In fact, like, stop getting up on our business, basically.
So there is
like, stop micromanaging us is what the universe is sort of saying in a very nice way. And I feel called out by this. Like 1,000%, I feel called out by this. Not so much from a past perspective, but I'm kind of doing my personal reading from a problem advice. So my problem is that I'm not doing this at the moment. I'm just going to be honest about that.
So in our one-on-one coaching experience, we have a bonus that we sometimes get into. I'm not going to explain
Please
it.
Don't.
This would take 2 hours, but there's this one concept we get into that's about being in the observer mode of your life, where you almost are viewing life around you you're in it, but you're also looking almost like down from a bird's eye view of it in this weird, curious, like, wow, that's fascinating. That's what's happening right now. And you're not judging and you're not trying to any micromanage. You're not trying to orchestrate anything. You're just experiencing from this curious, non-judgmental viewpoint. And that's what I heard here.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make things mean something or stop trying to change and grip your fingers on the circumstances. Just be the Wizard of Awareness. And just get curious. Like, oh, wow, maybe this isn't about me. Maybe this is just life shifting as it does.
This isn't about me, and it's not mine to try to solve with my mind.
And it's all good.
Everything that's happening is actually for us. Oh, I hate that. I hate when we get told that. Even if I know it's kind of true. Wow. Well, the Wizard of Awareness be calling us out.
Oh yeah.
Today.
Oh, yeah. He's flying all around the room.
He is. This like very bossy. Okay. So that's either maybe the problem that we're struggling with potentially. It could be also, if it's in the past position, it could be something that has historically been an issue for you or been difficult for you. it could also be something that you've overcome or you worked really hard to overcome. Again, depending on how you're interpreting
Or
this
this might be your answer. If you said,
exactly,
here's my question, I chose the left card.
Whew, you got called out,
Yeah.
no matter what your question was.
Answer.
Well, all right, let's move on to the second one, which is the middle card or the present, if you're doing a past, present, future, or the advice for the problem, if that's the version you're choosing to read. Okay. Oh, well, here we go. I've seen this one before, Kristen. 14, ride the wave. It's 2 dolphins, a big wave, and there is like a little fairy like on one of the dolphins. The dolphins look happy. They're just doing what dolphins do, enjoying and leaping and swimming and playing and frolicking. And the fairy seems to be having a grand old time on top of one of those dolphins.
Okay. Well, this is, I can already tell, this is a very positive message.
Okay.
Here's our quote. Right now, success is easy and effortless.
Yeah. If you shut up and let the Wizard of Awareness take over.
Stop trying to micromanage. This can be effortless.
Okay.
You can be assured that you're entering a time when you can ride the wave of abundance.
Nice.
The tide has turned and you can put your surfing skills to the test, hence the dolphins.
Okay.
Everything that you know, all your talents coupled with your hopes and dreams will carry you forward. People and circumstances have come out of the ocean of potential and possibility to take shape in a new wave of spectacular activity. Know that you are definitely on the right path.
Okay.
Wow, that's just...
Okay, so that's really great because it's like, so to me, this pairs so well with the Wizard of Awareness because I think if you're like me, and the reason the wizard is calling you out, which I love as a sentence I just said on my podcast, is because you've struggled to let go and to not micromanage. This is such a reassurance that when you do that, nothing bad is going to happen. And that in fact, you are on the right path and that you just need to ride the wave and let it happen. And things will be working out. Just trust it.
And if you are not embodying the Wizard of Awareness and you're trying to micromanage things, trying to make things happen, trying to insert yourself into life's ebbs and flows too much, it's probably because you assume something is not right or something is not working or it's not going in the right direction unless you try to
it is incorrect that this is happening right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this card is saying, no. This is exactly right. You are on the right path right now. And
oh my God, the
right people and the right circumstances are going to reveal themselves. There's this abundant ocean of help out there.
Yeah.
Stop trying to do it yourself. Just let the universe and let the ocean of abundance
all good. Ride the
bring
wave.
you what you need to make sure that you're solid.
Man, the wizard and the dolphins have teamed up.
Man, I kind of love it.
Well,
I feel like wizard, or I feel like dolphins.
I literally was about to say dolphins are the wizards of the sea.
We're having a brainwave here.
Were you saying that same thing?
I mean, they are like some of the most intuitive,
highly
conscious creatures.
Yeah, high energy too.
High energy, high consciousness, highly intelligent, and yet they spend most of their days just playing, chilling, hanging out.
We could learn a thing or two from the dolphins.
We could.
Okay. Well,
learning from wizards today, learning from dolphins
I almost
today.
fear what we're going to learn next.
That's what I know.
Okay. So we're going to do...
Well, you know what? No matter what it is, it's all good.
It's all good. It's a message. Okay. Ooh, okay. So our third card is either our future card. Well, it's our card on the right. If that you just want it to be your card, that's fine. Future or the likely outcome if you follow the advice and do ride the wave. Okay.
Okay.
48. Wishing well. I think we've seen this one before, but not in a long time. It's a girl in like kind of like a medieval dress and pointed ears, and she's by a well, and the well has all sorts of like golden light coming out of it. They look like honestly, they look like snitches, golden snitches coming out of it. There's also a fancy mask floating above it. I don't know.
It's very serene and pastoral.
It's very pastoral. It's in the middle of like a valley in a verdant field. So I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't look bad.
That's good.
So let's read that.
Okay, let's hear our quote.
Okay.
Desire is the sacred impulse for life. Feel it, but let go of all attachment to ownership.
Okay.
Desire is the most important impulse for creating life. Now you're seeing the relationship between desire and inspiration and sensing that moment of truth when you feel the inception of new life. It is an aha moment when everything makes sense. Perhaps you recognize a soulmate or are conceiving a baby or an idea.
Wow.
The wishing well card awakens you to the presence of unseen forces that enable new beginnings. Divine intelligence activates the field of possibilities where new life is co-created in a magical way. Neither you nor anyone else can know how or why this happens. It just does. To that end, you can't control the process of growth. Are we seeing a theme here?
Yeah.
Rather, you must step aside to be a channel for higher forces and relinquish any attachment to how this new creation should appear or when.
Okay, great. Well,
form your intention and take action by dropping the coin into the wishing well. Then trust in spirit. Prepare to be amazed. Well, I don't think we could have had a more obvious theme here.
Yeah. It's like, let's double down, triple down. Okay, but I think each of these cards paired together, you see them through a slightly different lens when you look at them together. And this one, what's standing out to me now, what's standing out to you as you're listening is could be different. But to me, what is standing out is the new beginnings, which was emphasized more than once in that paragraph. So to me, when paired with Wizard of Awareness and Ride the Wave, this being in the future card or the likely outcome position is if you release your attachment and you stop taking everything personally and you stop trying to micromanage the universe and you ride the wave, then you are going to, in the timing that the universe deems appropriate, not ours, have new beginnings. And you're not going to have to figure it out with your mind. It's just going to happen. That's the vibe that I'm getting from that card when paired with the other two.
Yes. And I do think that for anyone who gets uncomfortable with the idea of stepping aside and not trying to micromanage things and just riding the wave, this is also validation and reassurance that you still get to set intention. It started out by saying desire is at the core of all creation. So you get to set intentions of what you want, what feels great, what you would desire to happen, but you don't get to micromanage how it happens or when it happens or what you need to do or how other people need to act. So it says you put that intention in the wishing well. That's your action. That's what you already did. You did your part. And now it's all good. Whatever is happening is in service of that.
But the fact that this is in the future position kind of makes me laugh because what it's also saying is that like this is always going to be the case, that you're always going to have something else that you want. You're always going to need to set intentions and then step out of the way and let it happen. So like to me, there's almost like a circle, like this should be a circle.
Yes.
Not a line, right? Because really, then we're going to have a new intention and we're going to drop a new coin in the well. And then we're going to have to go back to being the Wizard of Awareness. And then we're going to have to ride the wave. And then we're going to get a new beginning. And then we're going to want something else. And that's how it goes.
Yes. And the cycle is perfect. Wherever you are in the cycle, it's fine. You don't need to rush to the next one because then you're just going to end up in the circle again. You can't escape it.
Wow. This was a fun one.
This was a fun one. Also very positive one. Like every single card was like, you're good.
You're good. Stop.
Things are happening in the right way.
Like, no, but stop.
Prepare to be amazed was our last sentence. Yeah. I mean,
right.
This is all
It's all good. Prepare to be amazed. Ride the wave. What are you worrying about?
Be a playful dolphin.
Sure. I was stressing about something in the middle of the night a few nights ago. Actually, it was about Joseph, not my relationship with him, but like something difficult he's going through. And I usually find it pretty easy to be the Wizard of Awareness for other people. I'm finding it very difficult with him. And so it's kind of like a new challenge for me because I can do it with almost everybody else and I can't do it with him. Not as easily. And it's like, well, his life affects my life so much.
Exactly.
So much more. And so I find it really difficult. And so sometimes I'll kind of try to micromanage the process or even him. Ooh, well, it's true. And so I feel like the wizard was calling me out for that, for sure. But in the middle of the night, I had a dream. I don't remember what was happening in the dream. I'm not going to bore anybody with the details, but what I do know is that I was writing a list of 90s movies recommendations for somebody. Okay.
Okay.
And the only movie I remember
that unlikely in real life.
No. The only movie I remembered having written down, like later on that day, was Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, great. My subconscious did not miss. Okay. But I stand by that recommendation. And I don't know why. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then for whatever reason, another morning, like a few days later, I was just like in bed and I was like letting my thoughts just, I don't know, go where thoughts go when you're kind of in that weird liminal space between sleeping and waking up. And for some reason, I thought about Sally Field. And then I thought about Mrs. Doubtfire again. And then I thought about the scene where Pierce Brosnan almost like chokes to death on the shrimp. And Mrs. Doubtfire, aka Robin Williams, goes, "Help is on the way, dear," and like barrels through all those people. And I was like, oh, that's what Mrs. Doubtfire in my dream was about. Help is on the way, dear. As in, we got it. You don't have to keep micromanaging this.
Just to give a little extra emphasis to that, I hadn't even told you this yet, but whenever you see a sign or get a sign 3 times, I feel like it's
yeah. That wasn't even the second. I think this isn't. Or have you seen Mrs. Doubtfire lately?
Oh, have I seen it? I literally went to the off-Broadway production of Mrs. Doubtfire in London.
Wait, did I know that?
I don't think I had told you that.
What?
I don't think I told you that.
Well, I think I've also seen it like randomly pop up a couple other times too. So yeah, help is on the way, dear. If you need that, if anyone else needs that, then take that. Or if anyone else sees Mrs. Doubtfire referenced within the next 24 to 48 hours, know that you probably are also receiving confirmation that help is on the way, dear. So and
also this could be your inspiration to go do a rewatch because it is truly a great
Doubtfire. You could picture Mrs. Doubtfire as the Wizard of Awareness if you want to have a lot of fun. Robin Williams as the Wizard of Awareness is that's fun. R.I.P.
In any role, man.
Anyway, okay. Well, wow.
Well, as always, please let us know what you thought. I love hearing people's reactions to our message from the universe.
I love it.
It's one of my favorite things, and it always hits people as it's meant to, which is funny because they'll come back and be like, this part really stood out to me, or this message. And I'm like, I get that.
I didn't even hear that when you were listening, when you were reading it.
I just trust that this is, it's a message for everyone. It just might be showing up for you differently, or you might interpret it differently. So please share that. I think it's fun.
You can comment on this post. There will be a link in the show notes, or you can email us if you want to share how this resonated. We always love reading your emails, contact@clarityonfire.com. And if we are the help that is on the way, dear, for you. We could be.
We could be.
We could be. We could be Mrs. Doubtfire giving you the Heimlich. Now, this is not quite the same because I didn't poison you. All right. I didn't try to kill you to begin with, but I can be the help that is on the way, dear, for you if you feel that your life is in need of an overhaul. And one of the intentions that you've dropped into the wishing well is that you want a big change or a transition in your life of some kind, or you want your life to feel more fulfilling, or you want a different career path. Great. All of the above and more. We can help with that. So one more week, sign up to talk to us. We'll have a conversation with you to see if it's a good fit. No pressure whatsoever. clarityonfire.com/coaching. And we will be back next Friday with, as always, a brand new Dear Rachel.
See you next week.
All right. Bye.